In this video, we'll continue working with AXIOM Examine and take a look at some techniques you can use for evidence analysis. In doing this, we're going to be looking at some additional filtering options in AXIOM Examine, starting out with some of those that are available on the filters bar. We've looked at some of these in previous videos, but now we'll start applying them and seeing how we can combine them in AXIOM Examine. Combining filters, or stacking, allows examiners to quickly reduce the number of artifacts left to manually review. In addition to stacking filters, you can combine those with keyword searches conducted from the filters bar, or using a column filter. Let's switch back to our case in AXIOM Examine. I'll go up and use the Explorer dropdown to switch to the Artifact Explorer view. Now the first thing I want to do is collapse refined results and draw your attention to the navigation pane. After using Axiom Process to recover artifacts from your evidence items, everything will be grouped within artifact categories as shown in the navigation pane on my screen. All of the web-related history from the various browsers found on these evidence items will be located in the web-related category. Chat messages and other communication would be in the communication category. Any of the categories shown in the navigation pane will be comprised of individual artifacts. For example, in the Documents category, you'll see that all of the like items have been grouped together. So Microsoft Word documents are in the Word Documents artifact, and PowerPoint documents are in the PowerPoint Documents artifact. One thing to point out about AXIOM Examine is you will never see a zero count artifact, meaning at the completion of processing your evidence, according to the search options you had enabled, if no artifacts were recovered of a specific type, you will not see a reference to that group within the navigation pane. Knowing that the navigation pane displays items based on artifact category with individual artifacts listed helps us to use the Artifacts drop-down menu on the filters bar to its full potential. Notice there is a horizontal gray line along with two separate vertical scroll bars. Above the line, we have the individual artifact categories just as we see in the navigation pane, such as additional sources and application usage. Below the horizontal gray line are the various artifacts that may exist in any of the artifact categories. As an example, if I only wanted to see those items in the Documents category, I could use the upper vertical scroll bar, drop down and find Documents, check the box, and apply the filter. And I see the same 2,756 artifacts in the Documents group. Alternatively, if I was only interested in the Microsoft Word documents, I could clear that filter, go back to the Artifacts drop-down, and in the lower vertical scroll, drop all the way down, find Word documents, and apply that filter. The end result is I only see the 59 items that have been placed into the Word documents artifact. The next filter is for content types. We'll first clear our filters, and then select this item from the filters bar. Several of the items here are pretty self-explanatory. If I wanted to filter the case to items related to conversations, I could simply select that filter criteria and apply the filter. AXIOM Examine will update and only show items which match, such as chat messages in the communication category or email messages in email and calendar. Now let's clear that filter and take a look at two content types that require just a bit of explanation. Going back to the content types filter on the filters bar, I'll scroll to the bottom, and the last two options are items accessible by users and items inaccessible by users. The option to filter on items inaccessible by users only appears if there are inaccessible files in the evidence that you are examining. The Magnet Axiom and Axiom Cyber user guide include information about these file types. But as an overview, items inaccessible by user would include things such as protected operating system files like pagefile.sys, hyperfill.sys, and swapfile.sys on Windows computers, things associated with the master file table in an NTFS volume, and storage areas on disk that are generally inaccessible, such as unpartitioned space and file slack space. Let's move to the next item on the filters bar for date and time filtering. In an earlier video, we looked at the timeline view in AXIOM Examine and covered some of its filtering and searching capabilities. When doing that, we also saw the relative time icon in the Artifact Explorer, which can be used to create a pivot point when moving to timeline view. Another approach might be to utilize time-based filtering while staying in the Artifact Explorer. This can be useful to comply with scope requirements or if we have a time for an event relevant to an investigation and we'd like to reduce the artifacts shown based on that information. For this example, let's say that our Windows 10 computer is one that has been used for several years, and to begin, we're only interested in artifacts from the computer with timestamps after January 1st, 2020. From the Date Time filter on the Filters bar, I'll go down and below Set Date Range, I'll use the drop-down menu and select All Dates After. Notice the different options here which can be used to tune this filter to your specific needs. After that, we have to select our start date. AXIOM Examine will pick the current month and year based on your computer's time settings. If I click at the top where it currently reads October 2022, that will cause AXIOM Examine to expand the scope of time shown, making it easier to select different points. Clicking a second time changes the window again to provide a list of years. If we want to filter for everything after January 1st, 2020, I'll select 2020, January 1st, and the filter is now created. Alternatively, that information could be typed in the Start Date text entry field above the calendar. Below, there are check marks where you can choose which days of the week you're interested in seeing items associated with. And at the bottom, there are filter criteria based on specific times. For this example, I'll leave the default option of all times selected and select OK to apply the filter. When updated, the Artifact Explorer in AXIOM Examine is now showing the artifacts from our dataset with timestamps after January 1st, 2020. Clearing that filter, we'll go back to the Filters bar and we'll take a look at the Tags and Comments filter. Once items have been added to any of the system tags automatically created in an AXIOM Examine case, or examiners have created tags, they'll be shown here. As examples, we can see some of the tags created using the Magnet AI media categorization for possible vehicles, and in parentheses, the number listed there indicates the number of items associated with that tag. One of the other ways this can be useful is when reviewing artifacts from a relatively large case, spanning several days. I can always come back and select the option to cause AXIOM Examine to only show untagged items and apply that filter to see items that I have yet to review. Let me clear that filter. I'll go back to the Tags and Comments, and if I wanted to see all of the items associated with the tag labeled hash match, for those hash values which were loaded in through the case details screen during AXIOM process, I can select that option from the dropdown and apply the filter. Clearing that filter, we'll move to our next option on the Filters bar for Profiles. In an earlier video, we walked through the steps to create a profile and showed how to use that profile as a filter across a case. In this case, we've created a profile for our Windows computer user, Isaiah Dashner. I have now added some additional evidence sources to this case that may include additional data for that same character. These items may be worth adding to our existing profile. If I go to the Identifiers People category in Refined Results, then we'll perform a filter on the identifier column to our user's last name and review the results to see if there are any items here which are not currently in our existing Dashner profile. Scrolling down in the evidence pane, I find several items which are not part of the Isaiah Dashner profile. Simply highlighting all of these, then expanding the Tags, Comments, and Profiles pane on the right side of the screen gives me the option to add these to the existing Isaiah Dashner profile. Let's clear that filter and take a look at the next option on the Filters bar, which is labeled Partial Results. This option allows you to filter on material that only has some of the artifact fragments returned versus artifacts that have all artifact fragments returned. In AXIOM Examine, any selected artifact is expected to have a range of details associated with it. For example, I'll go down to the Communication category, select Android SMS MMS Content Provider. Each of the columns shown in the evidence pane are details for a selected artifact. These column values for a selected artifact are also referred to as artifact fragments. For some artifacts, AXIOM may recover a partial set of artifact fragments, as can be the case with carved items. The Partial Results filter lets examiners choose between showing artifacts with full details or partial hits. Let's take a look at this. I'll use the Partial Results filter, and from the drop-down menu, select the option to only include complete results. With this first message selected, I'll scroll down in the Details pane until we can see the listing of artifact fragments. As a reminder, the items shown here under the Details card are the same pieces of information shown in the columns within the Evidence pane. These artifact details are the artifact fragments. Make note of the items listed under Artifact Information. Let's compare this to one of the partial results. I'll go back to the Filters bar, select the same drop-down, and toggle to the option to only include partial results. We'll apply that filter so we can review the artifact fragment listed in the Details card. For comparison, the Details card from the Complete Results message is shown in the box to the left. We'll go up to the Filters bar and use the Clear Filters button. Then take a look at the next option for Keyword List. Now, we've talked about Keyword List quite a bit already. From this menu, we could add new keywords to our case. Down below, we have the individual keywords that have been loaded in for processing during the case details configuration of AXIOM process. Next to each keyword in the list, a value in parentheses indicates the number of matching hits. As an example, the entry for amphetamine shows there were 5 results. At the top of the keyword list dropdown is a find box. If we had a lengthy keyword list and we were wanting to see if a particular entry was there, we could utilize the find box to type the keyword we're interested in, say meth, and find all of the matching results. Removing that text, if I scroll through the keyword list and select individual items using the checkbox, as seen here, that will apply a filter for any results with those matching keyword hits. Notice in this example, I selected the keywords AXCrypt, blue crystal meth, and cannabis, and I have 245 matching results. When selecting items from a keyword list, each of those terms is searched using an OR logic. For example, AXCrypt or blue crystal meth or cannabis. This is a distinction in the keyword searching logic. For example, the keyword blue crystal meth searches specifically for that string with single spaces between the words blue, crystal, and meth. I'm going to clear the filter for the keywords list. Again, we have the 245 results. And I'm going to do the same search, but instead of using the keyword list, I'm going to use the search box on the filters bar. So first, we'll search for AXCrypt. Then the next term was blue, crystal, meth. And we'll stop here. We have 0 results. This is the distinction for the logical operators with keyword searching. Conducting the searches individually using the search box on the filters bar applies an AND logic, in this case, AXCrypt and blue crystal meth, whereas using the keyword list dropdown applies an OR logic. This is something to keep in mind when you're using filter stacking and keyword searching in your case. I'll go ahead and clear my filters and select the next filter criteria from the bar, which is skin tone. This is another mechanism which can be useful for identifying. This filter can help to detect explicit content in media items. AXIOM Examine filters content based on the overall percentage of skin tone for all different skin colors in a specific media file. You can optimize this filter by importing hash lists for files like standard operating system icons and screensavers for items that are not relevant. As an example, I'll apply a filter for skin tone from 60 to 100%. With that filter applied, I'll go down to the media category, select the pictures artifact, and then switch to thumbnail view. Many of the items shown here are standard operating system icons and graphics associated with programs. While their color content is consistent with human flesh tones, they are not relevant. This filter, combined with other media categorization filters and Magnet AI functionality, can assist in the overall completion of the grading and categorization of media items. Well, let's go back up to the filters bar, clear the filters, and we'll take a look at the next option, which is media categorization. This is a drop-down filter which allows examiners to quickly filter on a specific category of image or to reduce items in view to those that have not been graded. This can be useful when working through a large data set that may span several hours or days to complete. After returning from a break, I could apply a filter for uncategorized so that AXIOM Examine will only show the media items which have not yet been graded. Clearing that filter, I'll select the next drop-down from the filters bar, which is media attributes. For this item, I have a number of criteria to filter on from the video image classification standard media attribute values that we can use as filters. As an example, if I wanted to see if there were any items which had been in this dataset which have been identified as containing distributed media, I could apply that filter and select OK. All right, once again, let's clear the filters, return to column view, and let's see if we can come up with a couple of examples to demonstrate the different filtering capabilities and keyword searching that we've discussed in this video. For example, let's say first we're only interested in items sourced from a specific evidence item, the Windows 10 computer. I'll select that option from the filters bar, apply the filter, and then let's say we're only interested with web history from the Windows computer. At this point, we may not know which web browser we're interested in, so we'll scroll down using the upper vertical scroll bar and select the entire web-related artifact category. We'll select OK. And now, from the remaining web-related artifacts, let's do a keyword search for the word meth, with the idea being we'd like to know if our Dashner user of the Windows 10 computer had any web activity related to drug use or methamphetamine. As we've mentioned in an earlier video, the columns in the evidence pane are resizable so that we can see the content displayed there. The first several keyword matches for meth are partial hits within the word method. Scrolling down, I see there's some results for looking further down in the evidence pane. I can see some results related to web searches and site visits for items possibly dealing with methamphetamine. If we wanted to expand our search at this point to also include email communication, we could go back, use the artifact type dropdown, and again use that vertical scroll and go up and select email and calendar. Or if we specifically wanted to isolate on Microsoft Outlook emails, I could use the lower vertical scroll to find Outlook emails and apply only that artifact filter. I now have results in email and calendar within Outlook emails, matching our search criteria. As a reminder, any of the filter components that I have in place can be removed individually, regardless of the order they were added. We started out by filtering to just the Windows 10 computer. If I wanted to remove that portion of the filter, I could use that drop-down from the filters bar and either deselect the Windows 10 PC or select this reset button to bring all of the evidence items back into view. In this instance, it doesn't change the overall matching results for our remaining evidence items. At this point, we might choose to keep our keyword filter in place, but remove the artifact filter to see what other artifact categories have matching results for the keyword. Using the artifact drop-down from the filters bar, I can again select the reset button, bringing all of the other artifact groups into view with a keyword match for the word meth. With the results shown, I might choose to go down and expand the media category, then select the pictures artifact group to see the matching results available, or to investigate cloud storage and see results in Cloud OneDrive files. One of the things that's nice about using keyword searching in the Artifact Explorer of AXIOM Examine is the ability to look for the yellow highlighting to quickly identify any matches. Again, these are just some examples available within AXIOM Examine using the filtering capabilities offered by the filters bar and keyword searching. Often, in an investigation, you may not know where to begin your search for a specific thing, but keyword searching and filtering can help to find what it is you're looking for. Let's clear that filter. Once again, looking at the filters bar, you'll notice the word advanced at the far right of the display. Selecting this will open the advanced search window. There are radio buttons to select performing an advanced search by either entering search terms or a regular expression. First, we'll walk through the options for search terms. The first thing you have is a drop-down menu to either include or exclude the desired terms. An include search essentially has the same effect as entering a keyword in the search box on the filters bar or using a column filter. Selecting the exclude option to perform a not search is helpful when working through a case and you'd like to remove things from view that are deemed irrelevant. And we've already seen some activity on these devices related to illegal drugs like methamphetamine. Let's see if there are other examples we can find. I'll first enter the term meth, and notice there are options to perform proximity searching, whole word matching, and case matching. So let's start out by just searching for the word meth across the case. Applying that filter, we have 2,491 results. Significantly better than we started with, but still quite a few to have to review manually. Let's go back to the advanced search and perform a proximity search for the word meth within one word of the term lab. We'll apply that search. We can see our first several results are for JPEG images matching the search criteria, and then some text files. I'll select one of these. As a reminder, those search matches are highlighted in the user interface in yellow, making them easier to find. Also in the details card, you may notice a find button. Selecting that, and then entering our search term, meth, we can see that some of the results we have here are matches where our term is part of a larger word, as in something, or method. Let's go back to the advanced search to see if we can filter these even further. So keeping the original criteria in place to search for the term meth within one word of the term lab, I'll also check the box to find whole word only. Applying this search criteria brings our results down to 349, and we can see the highlighting, which quickly draws our attention to the results. I'll again go to the advanced search, and I'll clear the search terms here to effectively reset the filter. One of the other things I could do is add multiple search terms. So again, we'll search for the term meth, then I'll select the link to add another term, and we'll add the term cannabis. Applying this search gives us 12 results. Notice on the filters bar, our search criteria in bold list meth and cannabis. The default behavior when applying multiple terms is to perform an AND search, meaning term 1 and term 2. We could go back to the advanced search. I could toggle the search logic to perform an OR search. So in this case, the term meth or the term cannabis, and would expect to receive many more results. One other thing I could do, remembering that we've seen several results where the term meth was part of a word, I could go back to the advanced search, and under term 1 meth, check the box to find the whole word only, and apply that search, further reducing the matching results. Let's go back to the advanced search again, and look at another option. So for this example, I'm going to change my second search term to the word users, with the idea we're going to look for matches or apply an AND logic to the search. So in this case, our intent is to obtain search results matching the search term meth as a whole word and the term users. We'll apply that search, and we have 1,019 results. With all of the matching results in view, notice the item I have selected in the evidence pane, drugslist.docx, a Microsoft Word document. If I scroll down in the details pane, I can see the reason for this result includes the users folder on the root of the drive of the Windows 10 computer. Let's go back to the advanced search window and take a look at that last option under search options to exclude source path in search. Checking that box and applying the search further reduces our results to 36 items, making it much faster to review. At first glance, it may appear our exclude search did not work as intended because we have a highlighted match for a path including the users folder. However, this match is in the linked path artifact fragment for this link file, not the source fragment listed under evidence information. Excluding the source path in a search causes AXIOM Examine to exclude information listed under evidence information for source. I'll clear this filter and return to the advanced search again. Now previously, we had conducted a search for the term meth and the term cannabis using an OR search and deselecting the option to find whole word only. When we applied that search, we had over 2,500 matching results. Notice on the filters bar, our search criteria are listed in bold, meth or cannabis. One of the other things you could do with the advanced search is to perform a regular expression search. If we go back and select the regex pattern matching radio button, then we now have a text entry field next to regex. When selecting this option in AXIOM Examine for both Magnet Axiom and Axiom Cyber, you'll need to use the .NET regular expression format. One of the easiest is to perform an OR search. which uses the pipe character. So to mimic the OR search with two terms, I could simply search for meth with a pipe and cannabis, and I should expect the same results. As expected, our results using the regex match our earlier search with the two separate terms applying the OR logic. Notice here the filter criteria listed in bold are a pattern match for meth or cannabis. The ability to filter the results shown in the various explorers in AXIOM Examine, leverage filters from the filters bar for things like specific evidence items or artifacts, perform relative and absolute time filtering, or filtering on media attributes, along with the various combinations of keyword list, keyword searching, and advanced keyword searching across the entire case or on specific columns, allow examiners a wide range of methods to reduce the amount of information they're left to manually review when attempting to locate items of interest during an investigation. Hopefully, this video has given you additional insight into the searching, sorting, and filtering capabilities of AXIOM Examine within both Magnet Axiom and Axiom Cyber. The options available from the filters bar, using column filters, searching, and advanced searching make it easier than ever to locate items of interest in your investigation. In our next video, we'll take a look at some additional tagging and comments features, export options, and introduce portable case.